Hello, I'm Jill.
And I'm Jenna.
Welcome to ASL Stew. Okay, so now is part 2 of the Q&A. So we have the same clothes because it's the same video. So now we have Twitter questions left. So here's the first question.
Okay, the person's name is Sarah, and they ask, I loved watching the video about freelance interpreting. I'm curious, out of freelance and staff, which do you think is better?
Okay, so let me explain. I work at a university as a staff interpreter. And so they're curious if I prefer freelance or staff interpreting better. And I would say both have pros and cons. Um, I can make a whole video about that, what I think are the pros and cons for both. But I would say right now I prefer to be staff just because I like the people that I get to work with and there's a lot of support and resources. And I love my job right now. But there are many pros to freelance that I miss as well. So we can talk about that more later. Okay, the next question is from Aaron. And he says, do you believe in using hearing aids or cochlear implants?
My answer is they are tools. It's up to the individual if they feel they benefit from using them, but that doesn't mean that you become hearing. No, you are still deaf or hard of hearing regardless. Once they're off, then you're back to yourself. That's what it is. So it's really just a tool. I have hearing aids. I use them for music, for environmental sounds, things like that, and they are beneficial to me. But does it make me hearing? No, it doesn't. So you have to be careful. Just remember, use them as tools. And that can apply to some people, and maybe some people won't use them, but that's an individual decision. Okay. The person's name is Monique, and she asks, with many free resources available for ASL, interpreting, deaf culture, and whatnot, there's a lot on the internet. So, is getting a bachelor's degree or any sort of degree or training worth it?
Really, it depends. If you want to become an interpreter, then yes, getting a degree is actually required if you want to be nationally certified, which I would recommend getting certified. But really, it's going to depend. If you just want to, work with deaf people within your job, let's say, I don't know, lawyer or a psychologist or whatever. You don't have to get any special additional thing for that. It'd be nice if you could because the more knowledge you have, the better. But if you just want to work with, I don't know, at a group home or something like that, just getting your regular degree for social work or whatnot is fine. Maybe you could take some classes if you want to learn. That would be great. But I would say if you want to have more knowledge and learn more sign language, then I would always recommend taking classes, through high school or college or something like that. But it won't hurt to have it, but it's not necessarily always required.
Again, it's really going to depend what you're doing, what field. If it's staff education, then yes, of course, you have to. That's required. But if it's another field, then getting an additional skill set would be good. But really, if you want to just have, knowledge of ASL and use it within your career, then you don't have to get a degree, but you could take courses or, go within the deaf community. That's what you should really do is get involved with deaf people. That's the key to picking up skills right there. That's the most important thing. So it really depends what you're looking for.
Okay, the next question's from JDef2004, and he said, have you ever tried the Flip water bottle?
Like a full water-filled bottle? No, I haven't done that yet. I haven't tried that, but empty, yeah, I've done that before. I flipped it over, but not with a full water bottle.
No, the full one, no. I don't know. Is that a thing? Let us know.
Yeah, when people try and flip it over and it lands back down on the bottom.
I'm not cool like that.
I've seen it. It's okay.
I have no skill.
I could try. I could try that. I haven't, though. Okay, the next person's from M. Snore. And she said, Have either of you taken the ASLPI before? What's that like?
I don't think I've taken the ASLPI, but I think when I did the interview to get into NTID or RIT, I think technically I sent in a video, but it was using the SLPI testing system to see my sign language, but I didn't formally take it because I didn't physically go there. So I wasn't really taking the test. So I don't know. But that's for, I don't know the A part, but I remember that means, but SLPI means sign language proficiency interview.
A for American.
American? I don't know. They just called it the SLPI. They didn't call it the ASLPI. I've never taken the American SLPI or any SLPI. What about you?
None. I've never had any formal ASL anything.
No American. Nope. Sorry. I don't know. But from what I remember, the description was like a test of your conversational skills, not like your actual formal interpreting skills. It's just to see what your level of signing proficiency is. So it's typically pretty simple. You just have a conversation with them. Yeah. If you're taking the ASLPI, good luck. Okay, the next is from Sydney Ann, and she says, what is one mistake interpreters often make?
One mistake? I just have to pick one.
Just one.
It's typically the same thing. I'd have to say voicing not matching the deaf client's vocabulary level. That's kind of a common thing. Typically, it's either, well, from my experience, it's usually on a lower level, which, I have a higher vocabulary level and I want to use specialized words that I know. And often I usually get basic language and it kind of makes me feel like I'm lesser and it's not what I want. Sometimes I'll have to fingerspell a word, just be like, this is the word that I want you to use. So you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of one thing related to interpreting. Remember, you're learning to become an interpreter, meaning you're learning sign language, right? ASL. But also remember, you need to have skills with your English too, because you need to have a good, diverse vocabulary level for English for that reason. Sadly, in the past, many deaf people did not have higher master's, PhD levels of education, meaning interpreters didn't have to voice at advanced levels. But now, so many deaf people have higher vocabulary, meaning you have to match that as well. So you need to make sure that you're practicing your English skills as well, okay?
Right. I work at a university, so sometimes when I'm doing a presentation or a workshop, I'm with my peers who both have higher vocabulary levels and we have that type of jargon, specialized words. So that means sometimes the interpreter can't keep up and I have to say, no, this is what I meant and clarify. So that's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, it's not always that, you think that they have a lower vocabulary level. It's maybe you just don't have the right words. So just be careful of that.
Okay, the person's name is Score, and they say, do you have any tips for stretching or working out your arms? Because I just started signing and I noticed that my arms become tired.
Well, first, I would say if you're talking specifically about wrist and possibly injury, I just made a video about that, which I will link up in the cards and down below in the description, talking about wrist and working out and stretching of what to do. But if you're talking about arms, getting tired, I would say probably it's because you're not using micro rest or breaks. So, meaning when you're signing, if your arms are here all the time, your arms are going to get tired because you're not used to it. Or if it's here or up here, you just need to be knowledgeable of where you're putting your hands and your arms when you're signing. Don't sign way up here or way out here. Don't sign like this, because then you're tensing and you're going to get stiff. So put your arms down by your sides and sign as much as possible. If you need to go out for a bit, that's fine. Just be careful of how you're signing. And, what you can do, if possible, is film yourself. just signing, whatever, just talking with somebody or something, and then sit there and watch the video and see where are you putting your arms. Are they here, 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 here? Where are they? And then notice, what your signing style is, and maybe you could fix that, okay? But in general, just buff up your arms, work out more, lift some weights.
Well, and also, if you're pretty new, it takes time to get used to that. If you're signing all the time, then your arms will kind of understand that and it'll be fine. If you can't sign for like a few hours, of course, you're new at it. So just take your time and it'll build up over time.
Buff arms. Okay, the next question is from Tim H. And he says, "Hey Jenna, I provide financial services like investments, insurance, etc. Can I just sign with the deaf client myself, or do I need to hire a CDI or a regular interpreter if you're hearing?"
Okay. Kind of depends. If you are fluent with sign language, if you feel confident in your signing abilities and their conversation, then you can do it yourself. But you have to ask the client if they're comfortable with you signing with them. So, do you feel comfortable with me? If they say yes, then that's fine. If they say no, they need more assistance or clarification, then go ahead and get a CDI because it's really all about the client's needs and focus on them. So you say, what do you need? Are we okay? Great. If not, we need somebody else, then get an interpreter. Whatever the client feels that they want, respect that decision.
Yeah, I would say that, for any profession in general, like other than a doctor, but if you're, I don't know, a psychologist or private practice or something like that, if you can sign really well and the client's fine, then maybe sometimes they would prefer that one on one. Prefer that instead of bringing an interpreter for privacy reasons. If you can and the client's fine with that, that's okay. But for any other reason, if you're missing information, or if there's any potential translation error, then I would request for a professional person. Good question.
Okay. Same person again, Tim, asked another question. And he said, is there any online community I can visit to practice my signing? Do you know of any?
Okay, well, I'd always say first, there's ASL Practice Pals, which will be linked down below for that. Also, you could maybe try, I don't know, if you want online, then I know there's a few different Facebook groups, like I know ASL That. That's a good group that you can, contact people there and ask questions about specific signs. I'm trying to think of another one. Not really sure any others.
Really, there's a lot of different groups. You can look on the groups pages like in your state, or there's not always some, but they might have some there. And it's important to use Facebook as a search engine to just kind of see what you can find there.
Yeah, I would just say look online and Facebook as much as possible.
Okay, this is Monique again, has a follow-up question from before, asking, is it possible to get a degree online only? I was looking at Gallaudet University, but it seems not all of the courses are there and available online.
I'm not 100% sure right now off the top of my head, but I've researched that question before, so I will leave a comment in the description down below explaining what I found. I believe, yes, there is an online program. I think one, maybe two universities have online programs. I'm not sure if it's fully online. You might have to go one time, like a week or one weekend, but I will research that and find out the answer, and then I will leave it down below in the description so that you guys can read it and you can figure out which university people recommend. I asked on Facebook and a few other groups that I was involved with what they thought, and I've never taken it online for interpreting. I'm assuming that's what she means. If it's not interpreting, then I have no idea. But if it's interpreting, I'll let you know.
Okay, this is from Tumblr, and the person's name is Fandom Overload 7890. And they asked, what advice would you give somebody who is trying to become an interpreter and is trying to learn some sign language by themselves?
I would say it's fine if you want to try and learn sign on your own, but if you want to become a professional interpreter, you'll have to actually be in contact with somebody. That could mean taking classes through high school and then through university. and getting a degree for interpreting, or you could go old school and get in contact with your deaf community, and they will help you grow and become skilled enough to be an interpreter. So, either I would say take courses through school or through the deaf community, but I would say if you're just learning sign by yourself and you've had no formal instruction or you're not in contact with people, then I don't think you could be skilled enough to become an interpreter, just because the deaf community typically doesn't really work well with people like that. If you've had no formal instruction or no involvement in the deaf community, it's really tough. Plus, if you're learning by yourself, really it's tough because either you're just looking at videos all day and you really need in-person contact either through school or through the deaf community. So I would say that.
And also, to be a good interpreter, it's not only about the signing skills. You need to have cultural understanding as well, cultural knowledge of how deaf people are, what they behave like. Really, there's a lot involved in that. It's not just the language, there's so much more to it, and it's really important to work with the deaf community. That's so key.
Yeah. Experience is a lot, I would say. So try your best, when you're ready to go ahead and take some classes, get your degree, or, work with the deaf community and see what they can help you with. So good luck.
Okay, so the Q&A is done. We've had a lot of questions, we've answered a lot of things, and we've really enjoyed it. We always enjoy answering your questions. Thank you so much for all the questions that you gave us. There was a lot. Wow.
Yeah, so if you've liked this video, click like and remember to subscribe. If you want, you can click the notification bell so that you will be notified when we make new videos.
And if you want to provide support in another way, you can look down below and we'll have a few options. You can look at our Patreon page and see some cool perks there. See what level you want to pick and do that. Or you can donate one time through Ko-fi and click any amount you want there. And we always appreciate any support that you give us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.